Hello and welcome to your first critique. I'm really glad that you're here and it's good to hear from you again. I love seeing familiar names in my inbox, so that was awesome to hear from you, girl, and I'm excited to help you out again. I love this image. I love it so much, and I think you did a great job post-processing. I really do. I know that you mentioned it's hard to not make them feel awkward. Part of the thing that I have found when images are like this and you have to make them help her is to let them know that it's okay that this looks ridiculous or that they feel ridiculous. That's okay. And if you can laugh at them, laugh with them, and make them understand that, like, we're just doing this for the sake of a picture, like it's no big deal, then it allows them to be goofy instead of feeling like, what are we doing? So I understand your pain. It happens to me all the time, but I've found out that if I preface this pose or this shot with, you're going to feel silly, just embrace it and go with it, it's going to be worth it for the wedding album, then they're much more likely to just have fun with it instead of feeling like they look dumb. So they look great, and I hope they look at this picture and think, oh, this really was awesome. So it's beautiful. It's a beautiful shot, and it's hard to critique something like this because I think you did a great job at controlling the highlights and keeping accurate color. I know it's hard to control what people were doing, but I always have at least one person fiddling with the back of the dress, and that would have taken this girl up and had her head here so I could see more of her. So I say, someone can be on the back acting like they're zipping it up, two people can squat down, and one person can be standing to the side a little bit. Not everyone has to touch the dress. Someone can be interacting with the bride as well. So I hope that helps. As far as, just editing, from an editing standpoint, I think you did great. I think if you want it to pop a little bit more, you could always darken the shadows a little bit and then lighten the dark so that it's not overkill. So that's a little bit something if you want it to pop more. But if you like the lighter look, I think you should stick with it because your style looked great. So it's hard to critique this. You did a great job and the coloring is awesome. I think you could crop out a little bit if there wasn't junk in the room just to get a little bit more blue from the dress on this side. But I think it's a great image. You should be proud of yourself. So this image, I know it's really hard to get rings in focus. I realize this. I would try to focus on the prongs of this ring because, and realize that if these prongs are in focus, then this ring needs to be in the same plane of focus, the same line. It looks like this is a little further ahead, and that's probably why it looks a little bit out of focus. So if you can focus on the prongs closest to you, you're going to have a much sharper image. It doesn't matter if under here is not in focus. People look right here to make sure the image is in focus, so focus on these two little knobs, these two little prongs, and you'll see a big difference in your ring shot. Another way you might want to improve this is just squatting down a little bit and shooting from more of the ring's perspective, so you're shooting right into the diamond instead of up above. That's actually easier, in my opinion, to shoot that way. Something else to think about really quick is that there are obviously some tungsten lights in the room. You can see the orange reflection. Sometimes I just would take the orange out. So if you can see what I just did on the balls, I just took the orange out to get rid of that additional light. And that clears the image up a little bit. So you could also brighten with fill light just to make it look a little bit cleaner and add some contrast, and that might make your rings pop a little bit more as well. So another thing is just simple cropping, having equal sides of the image on each side of the rings would be something to help you out just a little bit. But I love it. If you go to Zach and Jody Gray's blog and search for me, I just did a ring shot post for them, and I explain a lot of ring shots there. So Zach and Jody Gray, it's on their blog. Here, the only suggestion I would have is to not shoot at 1.2, just because it's going to be extremely difficult to get this in focus at 1.2 because you are so far away, and there's really no need to shoot at 1.2. I would shoot at least at 1.6 or 1.8, but 1.2 is very tricky. And even though it looks in focus and it looks beautiful, and I'm sure it is awesome, I think you're just going to do yourself a favor if you keep ceremony shots this far back. At more at 1.8. I think 1.8 is a good safe zone to be in. I love this image. I think it's beautiful. I'm sure you don't love these lights that are glowing, but it's that's hard to get rid of, and you definitely need a horizontal shot like this. But one way, if you wanted to get a great shot, One way to get a better shot would be obviously to crop in and shoot some vertical images, which I'm sure you did, just to get rid of some of that glaring white. I don't know what those lights are on the wall, but I feel your pain. I can understand why that would be difficult. So, you know, shooting a vertical shot would probably be the one that I would put in the album. So I think this is beautiful. It's a great image, and you should be really proud of it. I just straightened it a little bit, and now it's not letting me. Let's get rid of this. I'm just gonna, whatever. I'm just gonna let it crop it weird. But know that I normally wouldn't crop it like that. I think another thing that you did great on is exposing well and not, nothing is too contrasty. So if you ever shoot some in churches where the edges are really dark, you can always adjust that. Let's see, where is that? Here, you can just adjust and brighten just the edges of the image through the lens vignetting at the lens correction tab. So if you thought that over here was dark, too dark, you could always adjust it there. But I think it's great. I think your white balance is awesome. I would just try to stay away from 1.2 during ceremony shots in low light capabilities or low light options. So looking at this, it looks a little bit dark. So I want to make sure I explain that if you darken the shadows at all, then make sure that you don't overdo it because you don't want to lose detail in here. I hope this is helpful. I can't wait to help you later on in the week. Your images look awesome. You should be proud of yourself. I hope this helped. Talk to you soon.